Today we're going to look at 5 NBA players who are ready to be the savior for their respective teams, and they have not gotten the chance. The first one has to do with the Indiana Pacers. The second one is Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs. Is it not fitting that Kawhi would be the carrier of the cornrows after Allen Iverson? I don't know what that means. The Orlando Magic, they have someone waiting in the wings. That's actually a bit of a pun, which I hopefully remember to explain later. Toronto Raptors could use some more help on the perimeter, or a change on the perimeter, and the Denver Nuggets have been trying a lot of stuff this year, and I'm not a fan of a lot of it. So all these guys, these teams, have one guy on their team who could really go like Super Saiyan and come out of nowhere. They just need the opportunity, man, and the first one is the Indiana Pacers, who have just not been that good. They're currently 2 games under 500, and the defense has not been good. The offense has just been really awkward as well. Kind of like, have you ever seen Awkward Moments of Minecon on YouTube? It's kind of like that, but in basketball form. A big part of it has been Monte Ellis. He's averaging about 10 points while being inefficient from everywhere on the floor, playing over 30 minutes a game, and he's started the majority of the games this year for Indiana. Hey man, at one time Monte was the best, looks really good, but he's actually not that valuable of a player in the league. Now he just doesn't even look good anymore. Now, to be fair, he had some decent years with the Mavericks where he was actually a part of winning basketball. But he's building a brick house. Shout out to the one artist who made that song that I don't remember the name of. And he's also averaging about 3.5 assists with over 2 turnovers a game. So that makes it really damn difficult for guys like Paul George to go off because the defense is playing 4-on-5. Where the hell's CJ Miles? Well, I shouldn't say that. He is playing consistently around 20 to 25 minutes a game for Indiana, but when you're already 2 games under 500, almost midway through the season, CJ has to be in the starting lineup, man, because as a shooter, he's knocked down. He's shooting over 40% from 3 this year, and he would just make them difficult to defend because now you have someone the defense actually has to pay attention to at the shooting guard position. You can also run some more offense through him because of that jumper, and it would just make them, once again, a team that is a little more dynamic because Monte Ellis ain't doing anything right now. And of course, with CJ, it would also just make the rest of the team better because besides just being someone who can shoot himself, it's like now when Jeff Teague wants to do stuff in a pick and roll, now the other team can't just swarm him and leave Monte Ellis wide open. This will also make things easier for Miles Turner, who can score down low a little bit more now. Or I should say, if they were to do this, I mean, look at Kyle Korver right here, you know? He can't go off of CJ, because if he does, that's probably going to be 3 points, so he just has to watch the pick and roll go by. This will also allow Paul George to go to work more. I mean, none of this is happening when Monte Ellis is in the game. I mean, here's another one for you right here, as Paul George does some lefty hook that I'm pretty sure he's never shot before. Now, the argument of this could be, 1, again, he is playing like 25 minutes a game, but 2, you could say, well, he helps the second unit with their scoring. What I say to that is, you have a number of decent offensive players on this team. 1, there's Miles Turner, who can hit from everywhere, can post up on mismatches, has an okay face-up game at this point. Jeff Teague may have struggled out of the gate, but he's been a good NBA player for a long time. You gotta assume he's not going to keep it up, although that layup was friggin' ridiculous. And there's also Paul George. You can stagger these guys with the second unit to keep them above water when the majority of the starters are not in the game. CJ's got to be in there for the spacing and the shooting because you're not getting it from Monte. Now with the San Antonio Spurs, they're really good. Greg Popovich is a good dude, although he gets accused for being really friggin' mean to reporters for reasons that I don't know. There's my controversial opinion of the day. And Kawhi Leonard, like I mentioned before, the continuer, if that's a word, of the cornrows, shout out to him. We're going to be talking about the center position. Currently, Pau Gasol inhabits it. He's not useless. He can grab a rebound, and he's still pretty damn good offensively, whether it be scoring from mid-range or on the low block. However, Pau Gasol is one of the worst defensive players in the NBA today. And that is going to come back to kill San Antonio with their lack of athleticism in the postseason against a team like, for one, the Los Angeles Clippers, as DeAndre is dunking on him here. Insert Dwayne Dedmon, who is playing about 15 minutes a game for San Antonio at the moment. He's also Arios' favorite player. If you follow Arios for more than a week, let alone a week, 2 days, he's going to mention Dwayne Dedmon. Dedmon is very athletic as opposed to Pau Gasol. Offensively, he can finish a lob and he might be able to score in transition, but his value is the defense. Unlike Pau Gasol, if you try to go at Dedmon, whether it be in a low post offense, why the hell is DeAndre Jordan posting up here, and why is DeAndre Jordan shooting something that's not right at the basket? I don't know, but you still get the idea. Dedmon can just move on the floor, because Pau Gasol is a brick wall, which is kind of a rhyme. It's enough to where I have to mention it. So when the Spurs go up in the postseason against some of the more athletic front courts in the league, whether it be Golden State or the Clippers, or hell, even the Utah Jazz, Dedmon can actually hang around and he can actually defend those teams when their big men start being asked to do things offensively, whether it be pick and rolls or post-ups or just general moving around the floor that Pau Gasol just can't really do for you. I mean, to put it into perspective with Gasol, he's actually made Kawhi Leonard's defensive efficiency go down. Like, how bad do you have to be on defense to affect Kawhi Leonard's defensive numbers? Pau Gasol does that. Dwayne Dedmon, he's not going to do that because he can actually play defense, grab rebounds, and do all that stuff. And San Antonio is going to need him in the postseason, so they better start playing him some more minutes. Now, the next one, we're going to Orlando, as the Magic have just not figured out what the hell they want to be after a series of moves. I think one thing that could help them out is the thing at their power forward position. Serge Ibaka is probably going to be gone in a year, I have to imagine, just given that this is not a good team. He's a little older. Aaron Gordon is playing the small forward position at the moment for him, and I know he just had a big game with a bunch of three-pointers. I don't imagine this holding up, and I think at the small forward spot, you're just wasting so much of Aaron Gordon's potential as well as his athleticism. If he's just chilling in the corner for you, then he can't do the things that he's actually good at. And the way I look at Aaron Gordon, because I'm pretty sure I made a Dragon Ball Z reference earlier, remember Gohan, like in the beginning of the show, when he's like a little kid, but he has like these bursts of energy where you're like, holy hell, this thing can be amazing? That's pretty much Aaron Gordon when I look at him. Because this really long sequence will tell you right here, when you're this athletic of a power forward, you can screw up a dunk, and by that I mean you get screwed over by 2K's dumb animation, sprint down the rest of the floor before the play's even over, be ready to contend at the rim, get the rebound, and then come down floor and I don't remember what the hell happens, but I'm pretty sure it's something good. Oh, he catches an alley-oop. Aaron Gordon's that frickin' athletic. And I saw some stat recently where the amount of pick and rolls he's actually been in for this team is like alarmingly low. Like, this dude is meant to be setting screens for some point guard, running to the rim and dunking on people's heads. But they're playing him at the small forward position. He's also shown a lot of good potential as a defensive player. Like, I just look at Aaron Gordon, I'm like, I mean, it's the same vein of Blake Griffin. Not the same player, of course. He's not as skilled, but... And I know that he has some ability as a ball handler, like, awesome. He's not skilled enough to be a small forward like that, and he can be a beast at the 4 spot, but the Magic have some weird thing with Serge Ibaka going on. Honestly, I would try minutes with both of them up front. Like, just see what happens. But I think right now, Aaron Gordon at the small forward position, it's a waste of his abilities. I want him on defense closer to the rim. I want him rolling to the rim on offense, and he's not able to do that. Now, I got a confession for y'all. My favorite player to record with is DeMar DeRozan, because I love shooting the mid-range jumpers, but he is not the topic of this video, although his position is, which is the shooting guard one. I'm pretty sure DeRozan plays shooting guard. He does. I don't know what I'm talking about. Terrence Ross has been the go-to guy on the wing for the Raptors this season. He's had a good scoring year, so it makes sense. Norman Powell, though, seems like a role player from heaven with his ability to defend both backcourt positions. I say that, and he's defending Batum, who's technically a shooting guard, but he's really a small forward. But Powell... The minutes that Powell has gotten this season, let me read you just like in the month of December, so this is pretty recent. December 2nd, he played 32 minutes. The next 3 games, he played less than 10 minutes. Then he plays 36, then he plays 8. they don't know what the hell to do with Norman Powell, and it's too bad because he seems like a guy who can fit beautifully within a system where you just give him a role of being able to defend the opposing point guard as well as the opposing shooting guard, and then just let him just float around on offense, hit some open threes where he's been good from outside his whole career. It's only like 2 years long, but hey, you know what? He's got a track record. Free Norman. That's what I say. Also, the name Norman is either one of the best or one of the worst first names in the NBA, because apparently that's worth mentioning. But another thing with Powell, which is why I want to see him get going now, is in the postseason, there's a decent chance that the Raptors are going to run into either the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Boston Celtics, potentially both. And for the Celtics, there are times when maybe Isaiah Thomas is going off, you put Powell on him, perhaps Avery Bradley's doing well, you put Powell on him, and then against the Cleveland Cavaliers, maybe J.R. Smith is getting open and he's hit 2 threes in a row, and then you bring Powell in there to defend him, some minutes on Kyrie to perhaps give Kyle Lowry a rest. These are the things that you need against your opposing Eastern Conference rivals, and shout out to Terrence Ross for being good offensively, but I just think Powell has more value for these guys long term, even if Terrence Ross at this very moment is a little bit more exciting. So Powell, his defense, his three-point shooting, I think he needs to be in there consistently, not playing 30 minutes one game and then 6 minutes the next. Now for the Denver Nuggets, they've been kind of annoying me, as well as a lot of people, because they haven't really committed to wanting to be a veteran team or a young team. And they have a really exciting young center in Nikola Jokic, and they've just been messing up his minutes. Similar to Norman Powell, it's the inconsistency of it all. But also, they've been starting Jusuf Nurkic. Now look, Nurkic, he's got some value as a center who can finish down low and perhaps develop a low post game and all that. But a harsh reality for you, Jusuf Nurkic is not as good as Nikola Jokic. He does not have the mid-range jumper, he doesn't have the passing ability. Jokic could end up being a better post-up player, as well as just the savviness on offense overall. Jokic's minutes last 5 games, 20 minutes, which is not enough, 38 minutes, which is a little high, but it's around the same ballpark, and then 2 straight games of 21 and 19, come on, man, he's got to be in there 30-plus minutes every single game. They've also had Kenneth Faried either starting or playing next to him. They either don't play him enough minutes, or the power forward next to him doesn't make sense. To me, I would actually like to see them go small around Jokic, surround him with a lot of perimeter players, guys who can shoot, and allow him to use his passing ability to just hit guys for open stuff, because, hell, he's already shown to be one of the best passing big men in the league, and then if you have 4 guys around him who can score, that can be pretty damn tough to defend. Not to mention, you're also an under 500 team, and he's 21 years old. Just go with the young guy. So I want to see Jokic get some more minutes, as well as have a different team around him, some shooters, guys he can kick out to. With the Indiana Pacers, you got to get CJ Miles in there to make Paul George and Jeff Teague's day a bit better. San Antonio Spurs really need Dwayne Dedmon so Pau Gasol stops getting cooked on defense. Toronto Raptors are going to need some help defending Kyrie Irving when he gives them a nightmare if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And Aaron Gordon, he really needs to be at the power forward position so he can dunk on more guys' heads and stop just chilling in the corner.